Join me today for a BattleTech short story review, Danger Close by James D. Long. This is the Geek Cabal channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be doing a review of a short story, BattleTech short story by James D. Long called Danger Close. I'm recording this in the early part of July 2025. There will be a link down in the description to where you can download the story for free. I recommend you do so because, again, as mentioned in the other videos, it takes about a minute of your time, maybe two, maybe a couple more if you're not registered yet. You just go to the Catalyst Game Store and, like I said, I'll have a link straight to it. You just sign in and download it. You've got it on there forever. You don't have to download it onto your computer. And you can open it up on there and read it on there. If you don't like it, you can delete it. So, there's really nothing to lose except maybe some time, which is what this review is all for. So, this follows the Old Crows mercenary unit. I have no idea if they are a known mercenary faction or not. They did feel compelled to say it was an Old Crows story on the front page, so I feel that they are in some of the stories, and I've just not heard of them before. My knowledge of BattleTech is not absolute. It could very well be the greatest thing out there, and I've just never heard of it. Yeah, so this, since this is a short story, the way it was formatted on my screen whenever I read it, there's about 30 pages, but they're about half height, so it's maybe 15 pages in print, give or take. So I'm not going to just go for the blow by blow, because I basically just read the story to you. But I'll give you some general impressions and my thoughts and some general story beats. So it takes place on the planet Kryton, so it's pronounced it in the Taurian Concordat, which is the same place the last story I reviewed had heavy ties to Taurians. There was the Taurians attacking Hansen's Rough Riders. This is a different time period. This takes place on November 14th, 3054, so it's in the clan invasion era, although the Taurians are the opposite side of the sphere than it's being invaded. So, and the Old Crows are a mercenary unit who has been hired to provide planetary defense for this planet. So, at least half the story is essentially telling you how everyone, how the immediate characters in the mercenary unit, the Lance, got to where they are, a bit of their backstory, while they are themselves being hit with an artillery barrage, and that's part of the mission, and they are basically acting as bait so they can triangulate where the artillery is coming from so they can go hit the artillery, because they don't want to land the dropship somewhere that the artillery can just pound on it and damage it. And there's some comments that being a mercenary is all about the dollars, because every shell you fire, well, that's money. Every armor plate that's got to be replaced, that's money. Every battle mech that's got to be severely repaired, that's money. So the goal is to take jobs where it doesn't cost you much, but you make a lot. They don't go into this, but that's why salvage is kind of a big thing in BattleTech. So the primary character, like I said, you got a Lance full of characters. Our main point of view character has been with the Old Crows for quite a while, so it's 15 years if I clocked it right. And two of his other Lance mates have been for quite a while, one about the same time as him, one a few years less, and then there's the new guy piloting his antique, I think it's a Javelin battle mech, passed down through his family, all that kind of stuff. First real battle, trying to see how he survives, how he acts actually in the field. So yeah, a lot of it's just internal monologuing by the main character about the ins and outs of the mercenary occupation, and his lance mates. One's the eternal optimist, even after everything she's seen, and basically just a ray of sunshine. And the others sounds like a man of few words, but yeah, but steady. So overall, decent short story. Again, it's another look into the life of inner sphere mercenary life. This one goes a little bit more into some of the nuts and bolts of mercenary life. Like I said, the cost and the money involved, things like that. And, trying to judge a book, not so much judge a book by its cover, but like, how do you scout talent from like recent graduates who don't have battle experience? You've got like, there's their profile, but what's actually going to happen when the bullets start flying? Or the gauze shells in this case. But gauze rounds, I don't think they have shells. So it's interesting on that front. And the toll this kind of life can take on people and things like that. And command. Overall, it's a decent read. It's fairly short. But I do recommend you check it out. And I'm going to have to see if this James D. Long has written any other BattleTech fiction. Is there any other Old Crows fiction? I'm going to look into that. But honestly, it's getting a little late as I was getting ready to film this. In fact, I have a much, much longer video processing at the moment. So this is kind of since I don't think I'm going to get that one done tonight to get it up for tomorrow, that's what this video is for. It's a podcast video from me and Jimmy that before I edited any of it was almost 3 hours long. So like I said, there'll be a link down in the description. You should definitely check this out. That's about all I've got to say on this one. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you going to check it out? Does it sound interesting? For these kind of short reviews, do you want me to say more about the story? Or do you like these just kind of general outlines? Because the story is short enough you can read it for yourself if it sounds interesting. Because like for longer stories, I'll go into the plot more if you haven't seen my other review videos for books and novellas. But so anyway, like I said, that's all I've got on this one. So any thoughts you have down in the comments, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is YouTube, you know how it goes. Sharing and commenting would help us grow the channel. We always appreciate it. Subscribing obviously really helps. That's the name of the game here. And again, a thank you for all of you folks who helped us get over the 500 mark a couple months ago. And we are a fourth or so of our way to the 600 mark. So we always appreciate all that. If there's anything in particular you'd like me to kind of go into in these BattleTech videos, let me know. I am in the middle of reading a longer book at the moment, Blood Will Tell, and it's pretty interesting so far. And I have a couple, I've got several source books that I need to go through, read, take some notes as I'm reading them, and do some videos on them. And a few that I have already read, but I read them a while ago, and I'd like to kind of refresh my memory a little bit before I start trying to talk about them on here. That's mainly the First Succession War source book and the Fortress Republic source books. I finally bought the Ill Clan source book. But anyway, if any of that sounds interesting to you folks, I also have a copy of BattleTech Universe that I'm probably just going to do a flip through to get a feel for what the book actually has in it, and do a brief video, and then once I've actually read it, because it's like a few hundred pages, we'll do a far more in-depth video. But that's about all I've got. Remember folks, no guts, no galaxy.